Hello everyone, hope you guys are doing well. So today we'll be continuing on with the second part of CSS specificity. So in last class we defined what Cascade is. Cascade is basically something that is successively passed on. So in CSS the properties will be passed on either using inheritance or due to specificity. The specificity is basically, suppose if we have like two or three selectors applied to the same element, then which selector will be more specific, that will define specificity. Now specificity is given in terms of three terms, like we have three terms for specificity. The first zero is for id, then second zero is for class. Now the class is an attribute, HTML attribute, and we have any attribute based selections, HTML attribute based selections, or pseudo class. Third zero um, is for HTML element selection. Now once the specificity of the selector has been determined, now declaration and specificity. Now once the specificity of a selector is determined, the specificity value will be conferred on all its associated declaration. For example, now your specificity is 1 comma 0 comma 0. For specificity purpose, the user is treat the rule as if it were ungrouped into separate roles. This previous example will be so. Which of the rules? So now, when we are dealing with specificity, so consider each declaration as a single rule. Both have a specificity of 0, 0, 1, and that's the value conferred upon each declaration. The same splitting up the process happens when a group selector as well. The user agent treats it as if it were the following. So this will be like h1 color. So this will be 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There is two properties, right? So it will be 4. So one will be h1 color silver, h1 background. This is for h1, then this is for h2. Now this specificity is 0, comma 0, comma 1, 0, comma 0, comma 1. This is class, and this is 0, 1, 1. Now this becomes important when multiple roles match the same element and some of the declaration clash. For example, I have h1 plus p, color black, font and italic. Now p, this specificity is 1, so for each it will be 0, 0, 0, 1. Now this is class, it will be 0, comma 1, comma 0. When applied to the following markup, the content will be rendered as following. This is the markup. In this case, the user agent determines which rules match a given element, calculates all of the associated declarations, the specificities, and which determines which rules wins. Now, which rule should combinators have zero specificity? So this will also even be, if I say h1 plus p, so this has to be now say, oh, okay, this is same thing, right? It kind of becomes the adjacent one. The color is gray, background of this 0, 0, 1. This is all HTML. Yeah, this will be h1 will get 0 since h1 is an HTML. Is a HTML element, and p is also HTML. This will add up to it will be the styling will be 0 comma 0 comma 1. Okay, now I have another sub and then plus does not have specificity. Okay, and this is one declaration. The other that we have is directly p. So this the specificity 0 comma 0. So in total this will be 0 comma 0 comma 2. And third what I have is call out. Now this is just let's analyze. The third thing that I have here is star dot. So this star is 0 comma 0 comma 0 dot 0 comma 1 comma. So now which of them will be applied? So yeah, this in total this will be this one will come to 0 0 0. So it should be this one. Color black, font style italic. Does that get applied? Which specificity is greater if I have to? This is H1. Okay, so class, this is the class one. So this will be star dot color. Specificity is 0 comma 0. This ends. And this should be color blank, background silver. This only is applied to color is black, background is silver. Okay. And then I come to P. So this is basically directly targeting P. But here this will be color gray, background white, font style normal. No, this is it will be 0 0 1, right? Color gray, background white. This there are many ways. Font style normal, background is white, color is black. And then I come to this H1. Salutation H1, and I come again to P. This will get, if H1 is a direct with adjacent to P. Yeah, this year class is winning, right? And this shouldn't be that one. H1 plus P. Color is black. Font style italic. This is nothing final. Yeah. Then this is classes. So this will be background color black, background silver. In every case, the user agent determines which rules match a given element, calculates all of the associated declarations, and then does the specificity. Fortunately, the user agent does it automatically and nearly instantly. This behavior is an important component of the cascade. For example, when we have multiple styling, then we should be able to understand why it's not behaving the way we want to behave. When an element is matched by more than one selector in a group selector, the more specific selector is used. These are like group selectors. An element is matched by more than one selector in the group. A selector, the most specific selector is used. Now here we have one rule with a group selector and each of the individual selectors have a different specificity. Now suppose we find this are our HTML. This has element, class, 1, 2, 3 classes and then ID as well. Also, first what he has done, now he's asking which property will be applied. Now treat each selector as a different specificity. For example, I am styling li somewhere here, then again I am styling it somewhere. So consider these all as this has some specificity, this has some specificity, this has some specificity, and this together this has a specific specificity. Now what he's saying, universal zero selector specificity. He's saying that the universal selector does not contribute to the specificity. It has a specificity of 0, 0, which is different from having no specificity. It does have a specificity, which is 0, 0, 0. We will discuss in later terms. Therefore, given the following two rules, a paragraph descending from a table will be black, but all the other elements. Okay, for example, this is element, right? Sector 002. This will 1. This means the specificity of a selector that is contains a universal selector with the other selectors is not changed by the presence of universal select. The specificity of a selector that contains a universal selector along with other selectors is not changed because it is 0, 0, 0. Same is true for when. So this is body, this is universal, this is again so it will be 002. Okay. Same is the case for where. Now outside is an HTML tag. Now combinators including the space character do not have specificity at all. Not even zero specificity, thus they have no impact. They do not contribute and now ID and attribute selector specificity. It's an important note. The difference in specificity between the ID selector and an attribute selector that targets an ID attribute. Returning to the third pair of the rules, for example, if we have the ID selector is the second rule contributes to I have two this, right? This is one rule, this is one. This is HTML. This is HTML, this is HTML. 1, 2, 3. This is 4, 5, this is 6, this is 7. So I have 7 over here. Perfect. And I have ID. Okay, this ID will also contribute here. There's a difference in specificity between an ID selector and an attribute selector that targets an ID attribute. So this is an attribute that is targeting the ID. Remember, this should be yeah. 0 comma 1 comma 7 HTML elements here, and then 1 in class and not in ID attribute is used here. Second, now important, sometimes declaration is so important that it outweighs all other declarations. CSS calls these important declarations. Let's okay. Now the ID select, yeah, this is what he's trying to explain. Now, for example, this should be 1. This is universal selector 0 comma 0 comma 0. This is 0 comma 1 comma 0. Now importance. Sometimes this declaration is so important that it outweighs all other considerations. CSS calls these important declarations. For example, obvious reasons, and lets you mark them by asserting the flag not important just before the terminating. Here the color value is p.dark 333 marked with the not important flag because the background value of the white is not. So if you wish to mark both the declarations, you need non important. Now what does it do? You must place not important flag correctly, otherwise all the declaration will be invalid. Not important always goes with the end of a declaration. Just before the semicolon, this placement especially is critical when it comes to property that allows containing multiple keywords. So always place it at the end in the other declaration. Without light, color, yellow, font, smaller times, serif, not important. Not important by place at the else, I will give an error. Do not have a special specificity value but are instead considered separately from important declarations. In fact, all non-important declarations are grouped together and the specificity conflicts are resolved with that group. Similarly, all unimportant are considered as a group with all conflicts resolved in that. The figure illustrates the result of the following rules and markup fragments. For example, I have h1. Okay. But this is not important. This would each will have its own each. So this is h1 font style italic gray. No title. It has relevant. If you find yourself reaching for not important, stop and wait for other ways to get the same. Cascade layers are one such possibilities. We never use them. Where is the markup for this? Figure 4.2. Where is the figure? Oh, this is figure 4.2. But the markup is not missing. Hmm. Okay, I have a single element. This is the class-based declaration. Now when I do not important, what does that do? Does it do something? Let's check an empty. Not important. By doing not important, what happens? The flag alters the rule selecting declaration inside a cascade. A declaration that is not important is called normal. So this effect will be more prevalent when we use it in cascade effect. That means we need to have a parent or some kind of inheritance happening here. So this is inheritance is basically even though the parent is styled, the descendant also get the same styling. Now I need an example of not important. What does that do? I have two declarations, right? So specificity which will be applied is the one of the important will take care. Not important is not part of determining specificity, it is related. Which will be preferred? Oh, so what is going to happen is if I've now this will work on property level. That means if I have another something which is targeting, then again it has to be marked as not important. And so what is trying? What is the meaning of having higher importance? What does that do? Yeah, we will have to get to another. So what is the use of not important? What happens if something is marked not important? If I do this, so what is explaining is so the okay, so although it is exclamatory, don't say it as not important. I guess that is the wrong term that I'm using. So oh yeah, yeah, he's saying. So when I have the why I'm saying is not important is because um, many languages exclamatory mark stands for not. So that's not the correct thing. If I have to mark something important in CSS, then it will be done using the important keyword. Oh, sorry, the eliminator question mark and then important. That will basically override everything. So I have two things. So and then a group of is maintained, right? So yeah, okay, let's wait a minute. Is a delimiter delimiter means it is important. Delimiter, and then next when I come down is so CSS maintains two groups. important and then normal. So if something is already important, then I need to override it with important. Use case of using is overriding. No important can be overridden only with important. Normal and not with normal declaration. That is what it's trying to say there. Now inheritance. For example, okay. So here ideally only it should be applied to H1 BG cat, but then it will be applied to this winner one as well. Inherits the value. If the property values could not be inherited by descendant elements, then the UM would be black. Okay, then he's explaining that what would happen if okay we expect the style applied to UL will also be applied to rest elements. The figure 4.3 demonstrates the following thing. Okay. Now the upward propagation rule in HTML has a notable exception. Background styles applied to the body element can be passed to the HTML element, which is document's root element, and therefore defines its canvas. This happens only if the body element is a defined background and the HTML element. When declaring is no, the upward propagation rule has a notable exception. So when I do HTML, is HTML inside body or what? The HTML is the outside part, right? Why am I going upside down? It should be from parent to descendant, right? When I apply to UL element, it will be applied to all the allies as well. It is propagated down the tree. Values are never propagated upward. An element cannot be passed to. It's okay. It's just saying that there is no upward propagation of the elements. Fine. Let's go there. There is one exception that there can be something that can be propagated upwards. This happens only if the body element is a defined. This when this will happen, it only happens with the body element. No other elements risk this from the descendant. Now inheritance is one of those has a background and the HTML element does not. So then it will propagate upwards. The entire HTML will get that property. Overflow as well. It happens. So there is an exception to this. What he's trying to say. The most inheritance is from parent to child, right? But body element has child to parent inheritance. This is an exception. No, inheritance is one of those things. Okay, okay. Not many properties are. No, there are certain properties that are inherited. Generally, in order to avoid undesirable outcomes, not everything is inherited. Not many properties inherited. Okay, it happens most or almost. So whatever we have box model properties, those will be inherited are not inherited for the same reason. After all, you will likely want. Okay, so the box properties are not inherited. You won't want to second the inherited that is, now there is no specificity at all. It seems like the academic distinction until you lack. This is basically talking about where zero specificity defeats no specificity. There is a something. This is zero specificity, right? All is gray. There is no specificity for here. H1 page title will get a specificity of why? He's saying this element should be okay. So although I have targeted this element, but then this is again child element, right? There is something to it. Wait, wait. So box model properties are never inherited. Like if I want to comment this thing, yeah. Okay, ideally this EM should have inherited from this, but since there is no specificity, it will be still gray. That's what he's trying to say. Oh, this is a very nice thing. We have targeted the parent and all elements. So get the parent string, but since it gets universal specificity and sliding. That's what I was trying to say. Now the cascade. Throughout the chapter, we have skirted one rather important issue: what happens when two rules of equal specificity apply. What if the browser is always complex? For example, consider the then we go for specificity, right? Both have specificity of what if we have same specificity? The cascading style comes into focus. CSS is based on a method of causing styles to cascade together, which is made by combining intent and specificity rules within a few rules. The cascade rules are find all rules containing a selector that matches the given element, sort all the declarations applying to the given element by X weight, sort all the declarations. Let's consider this. There are now what happens if both of them have the same specificity? Both have the same specificity, so which will apply? So to define this again, there is a cascade effect. Now let's learn about the cascading effect. The CSS is based on styles. Either it will be cascade or cascade is on two types. One it is inheritance plus specificity with a few rules. The cascade rules are find all rules containing a selector that matches a given element, sort all the declarations applying by explicit weight, sort all declarations applied to the given element by origin. The three basic are the author, reader, and the user agent. Under normal circumstances, the author styles, that is your styles as the author of the page, will win. Oh yeah, remember we can also do that thing. So there are three ways we can give: the author, the reader, and the user agent. The author styles are always considered to be the one. The reader will override the user agent. This is reversed for marking as important, which the user agent styles override author styles and both. If I mark something as important, then it will override even all. Sort all declarations applying to the by encapsulation context. If a style is assigned by a DOM, it has an encapsulation context, so then the same shadow DOM does not apply to the elements outside the shadow. Sort all declarations by whether they are. Now let's sorting by importance and origin. Now the two rules that apply to an element, one is marked important. The important one will always be allowed, even though it has higher precedence than sorting by element attached styles. There is another. Okay, now the emphasized text in paragraph will be yellow. There are eight basically rules. I have transition declarations, user agent, reader important, author important, animations, author normal, sorting by element attachment. Styles can be attached to an element using a markup. These are called as element style. To understand this, there is something called as cascade layers. Now what is this cascade layers? Yeah, so for each element there can be a one, like there can only be a one value. There can be only one value. That one value will be assigned based on how it is the specificity plus inheritance. Specificity. What is cascade layers? What is Cascade? Yes. What is at the rate? Is open here looking. Scroll down. Now this is something new which has come up called as cascade layers. The name cascading styles comes into focus. CSS is based on a method of causing styles to cascade together, which is possible by inheritance and specificity with a few rules. The cascade rules for CSS are: what's the advantage of doing cascading? I mean, okay. Fighting styles. So we can have two So we can link to yeah, for a single HTML. Yeah, you just keep on writing this tag, right? Okay. So now this is making a code more modular and I get it what is like more organized. So instead of writing all the things into one one style sheet, you make a two to three different style sheets, and then based on the cascading effect, you define which will get what. Group styles together so that they share a precedence of level within the cascade. This might sound like not important. In some ways, they are similar, but they are different. This is easier to demonstrate. The ability to create cascade layers mean authors can find various needs, such as the need of a component or the need of a specific page. This was introduced in 2021, so browser support exists only in point forward. If conflicting declarations apply to an element and all of the explicit, then none are eliminated. They are sorted by cascade layer. The order precedence of the layer is set by the order in which the layers are first declared or later declared. Layers taking precedence over the earlier. For example, I have two layers. What is layer 1, layer 2? This is because the page layer comes later in CSS than the site suit layer. Any style that part of a named cascade layer is assigned to an implicit default layer that has a higher precedence. And then any name layer for an unimportant role. Suppose we have the H1 will be now maroon because the implicit default layer to which okay you can also define a specific precedence order. Yeah, the first line defines an order of precedence. Is now where we are going to use specificity. Is that trying to say? By default, CSS will evaluate from top to bottom. Okay. By what is trying to say? This is modularity, I guess. Which styles to apply? This came into effect in 2001, right? In 2021. Also, previously we could only cascade something like that. She's trying to mention. It does not have to specificity. This is cascading style. So cascade layer is something like a new feature that has come up. So this is like a new feature that has come in Chrome, I guess. Yeah, something called a CSS layers. There's no option for layers, I don't know. Let's open any website. Incognito, right? Wikipedia. This is a new property that has come up. We'll be studying in the next video about this.